Cultural practices, the impact of geographical constraints. Cultural practices, the impact of geographical constraints. Culture, a complex web of traditions, beliefs, customs, and practices, is a defining aspect of human societies. It reflects the unique identity of different groups of people, shaping their interactions, values, and ways of life. While culture is primarily a product of human creativity and innovation, it is also significantly influenced by geographical constraints. The relationship between cultural practices and the physical environment is intricate, often leading to adaptations that define entire civilizations. This article delves into the profound impact of geographical constraints on cultural practices, exploring how the environment shapes societies and their ways of life. Geographical constraints, shaping human adaptation. Geography has long been a fundamental driver of human adaptation. These geographical constraints can influence various aspects of culture, including food, architecture, clothing, social organization, and even belief systems. 1. Food and cuisine. One of the most evident ways in which geography impacts culture is through the availability of local resources for sustenance. Different regions possess varying climates and ecosystems, determining the types of plants and animals that can be cultivated or hunted. For instance, the Inuit people of the Arctic have developed a unique diet heavily reliant on fish, seals, and whales due to the scarcity of vegetation in their environment. Contrastingly, the fertile plains of Europe have led to the cultivation of grains and domestication of animals, forming the basis of traditional European cuisine. Geographical constraints also affect culinary techniques and food preservation methods. In hot and arid regions, such as the Middle East, techniques like drying and pickling were developed to preserve food in the absence of refrigeration. These practices have not only become cultural staples but also highlight the resourcefulness of societies in the face of environmental limitations. 2. Architecture and settlements. The physical environment profoundly influences architectural styles and settlement patterns. People adapt their dwellings to the climate, available building materials, and potential threats from the environment. In areas prone to earthquakes, such as Japan, architecture has evolved to incorporate flexible structures and techniques to minimize damage. Similarly, the use of adobe bricks in arid regions like the southwestern United States helps regulate indoor temperatures due to the material's insulating properties. 3. Clothing and textiles. Clothing is another aspect of culture shaped by geographical constraints. The type of clothing worn by a community often reflects the climate and resources of their habitat. In colder regions, people traditionally wear heavy, layered garments to insulate themselves from the cold, while lighter and more breathable fabrics are favored in hot and humid climates. Moreover, the availability of certain materials, like wool or cotton, can influence the development of weaving and dyeing techniques, leading to unique textile traditions. 4. Social organization and belief systems. Geographical constraints can also influence social organization and belief systems. In regions where resources are scarce, societies might develop close-knit communal structures to ensure survival. Nomadic cultures often emerge in areas where agriculture is challenging, requiring the community to move in search of resources. Additionally, belief systems can be shaped by natural features such as rivers, mountains, and forests, which hold spiritual significance for the inhabitants. The Ganges River, for instance, is considered sacred by Hindus and has led to a range of cultural practices centered around it. Preservation and change. While geographical constraints lay the foundation for cultural practices, it's important to note that cultures are not static entities. They evolve over time due to a variety of factors, including technological advancements, globalization, and intercultural exchanges. While geographical limitations can foster resilience and innovation, they can also lead to isolation and resistance to change. In some cases, as societies become more interconnected, practices once closely tied to the environment might be adapted or abandoned. 1. Technological advancements. Technological advancements can mitigate or overcome some of the challenges imposed by geographical constraints. For example, the invention of irrigation systems has enabled societies to transform arid landscapes into fertile agricultural land. Similarly, modern transportation and communication systems have allowed people to overcome geographic barriers and engage in cross-cultural exchanges, altering traditional practices and beliefs. 2. Globalization and cultural exchange. Globalization, with its increased interconnectivity, has introduced new influences and perspectives to cultures around the world. While this can lead to the enrichment of cultural practices, it can also result in the erosion of traditional customs as external influences become more prominent. For instance, the spread of fast food chains and Western clothing brands to remote areas can challenge local culinary traditions and clothing styles. 3. Environmental impact. In recent times, awareness of the environment's fragility and the need for sustainability has begun to shape cultural practices in various regions. Indigenous communities, often living in close harmony with their environment, are at the forefront of advocating for eco-friendly practices. Their deep understanding of their geographical constraints informs practices that are not only culturally significant but also environmentally responsible. In conclusion, the relationship between cultural practices and geographical constraints is intricate and symbiotic. Human societies have adapted to their environments, shaping unique ways of life that define their identities. From the food on their plates to the beliefs they hold dear, geography has played an indelible role. However, as societies become more interconnected and technology advances, the lines between traditional practices and modern influences are becoming blurred. It is crucial to recognize the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and embracing progress. By understanding the impact of geographical constraints, we can appreciate the incredible diversity of human cultures and work towards a future where tradition and innovation coexist harmoniously. Cultural diversity, a source of strength. The world is a mosaic of cultures, each with its own unique practices and traditions that have evolved over centuries.